When it comes to safety tools for tabletop role-playing games, there are options, but how do you decide what tool is right for your table? Stay tuned to find out. It seems that every year there's a resurgence in the discussion of the use of safety tools in ttrpgs. Lots of people have strong opinions on them. Some I agree with, some I don't. I am a fan of safety tools, and look, the hope with safety tools is always that they're never used. Think of them like making sure everyone in the car is wearing seatbelts. You might be a safe driver, but you don't know what's going to happen on the road. Most days a seatbelt is just there, not really doing much. But in the event of an accident, you will be very glad everyone had their seatbelts on. As a player, it makes me feel I can be more open and even relaxed at the table, knowing we're all on the same page with the kind of game we're playing. And as a GM, it helps me to know what stories we can tackle. And also, I know that if there's anything that I don't want to roleplay, a player isn't going to unknowingly throw that into the game. So if you're new to safety tools, there is a variety to choose from. In my opinion, some work better for different situations. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of 4 safety tools and what kinds of games or tables I think they work best at. Let's start with lines and veils. This is the idea that everyone can write down a list of their veils, things they are okay being in the game but don't want to roleplay, essentially a fade to black scenario, and their lines, things that are a hard no. I think this works really great for a traditional home campaign, whether in person or virtually, as well as for campaigns run at a local gaming store. If the game is a homebrew, the GM knows what to avoid, and even if you're running a module, you might find that there's something that a player has put as a line that you wouldn't know is in the module unless they read it and had it spoiled. For example, if you had someone who had spiders as a line, they have arachnophobia, and there is an encounter that involves a giant spider. As long as the main plot of the module doesn't revolve around spiders, the GM could change that encounter to a different beast. And if spiders are an important aspect of that module and can't really be changed, maybe it's just not the game for that player. Similar to lines and veils is the Monty Cook RPG consent checklist. I think, again, this is great for longer campaigns, both private or at a gaming store. This is very similar to lines and veils, but it provides you with a thorough list of topics to consider. And it also has a spot to indicate things you really would enjoy, not just what you want to avoid. I have found this checklist very helpful, as there have been times that I haven't thought to put something as a line or a veil until it came up. But with this list, it allows players and game masters to consider each topic and figure out how they feel about it. I want to take a quick moment to thank all of our patrons, especially Sean. If you want to support our channel and pick up some cool perks along the way, you can head on over to patreon.com/rollforinitiative. Next up is the X card. A card with a X is placed in the center of the table. If at any point anyone touches the X card, the GM stops and skips over the scene, no questions. I think this is great for convention games or situations where you don't have the time for a session zero and would rather have jumped straight into the game. You can still have something there for players and the GM to keep the game safe and enjoyable. Another great tool for the convention type game is the stoplight card. You have 1 card or 3 cards with the symbols of a stoplight on it. Tapping the green icon is a way to check in, make sure everyone is on board with the scene, and move on. Tapping the yellow icon indicates that the game is moving into an uncomfortable territory. You can take a pause and figure out if the table wants to continue or change scenes. And then tapping the red icon is a hard no. Whatever is happening in the game stops. I like this as an alternative to the X card because it allows for that kind of middle ground of letting the table know that a topic should be dealt with caution, and reinforces that regularly checking in can lead to a lot better play. Now, I will say these last 2 are more difficult to use virtually, although I've seen it done, and you may decide to use a phrase in chat or have your own cards you can hold up to the camera if you need to. And look, your table may not need a codified safety tool. I've been a player and run games where we didn't have a specific safety tool defined. We were playing with friends in an environment where we all felt comfortable bringing up any topics or behaviors that we didn't want to see at the table. We casually kind of discussed what we wanted to see in the game and if there were any kind of lines or veils, but we didn't have kind of a set, everybody write it down. We just had a discussion. And ultimately, the safety tool you pick should be one that you will use if you need to. If you spend time putting together a lines and veils list, but the players never look at it, that's not doing you a whole lot of good. And if knowing you can use an X card if needed is going to make everyone feel more safe and have a lot better experience, then it doesn't hurt to put it on the table. And if you find that your table works best having an informal chat about expectations and regularly checking in with each other, that works too. Every table is going to be different, and hopefully this video has given you some ideas on what safety tool might be a good fit for your table. So how about you? Are there any safety tools you particularly like? Any that work better for different situations? Let's chat about it more in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative. Bye!